welcome to a new episode of the Insilico Terminal podcast. And also, Happy New Year, the first episode of the new year. My guest today is Mazino. How do you actually pronounce your name?
Yeah, Mazino's fine. Mazino's fine. Yeah, that's a
So,
good one.
could you tell us, who are you? What do you do?
So who am I? So I started with crypto. I say around 2017. It was actually a little bit before. With a friend, and then I developed a bit as a trader in the last almost 10 years now. And basically, I'm full-time trading, and I used to be, let's say, a spectator in the CT space for many years with another account. And for some reasons that maybe I will tell you later, probably, I made a new one and just started becoming more active, mostly because I wasn't really liking how the space has turned in the last few years. So I was like, well, maybe it's up to me also to try to shape the space in the way I want. Well, because at the beginning, of course, I was clueless. I was an absolute donkey. So me and a friend of mine, we got into crypto and started buying, all the shit coins. Of course, Bitcoin and Ethereum too, which is probably the best performing assets. And we blew so much money, and we were broke. So
Yeah.
those were all our savings. And then in maybe 2019, so a couple of years of being unprofitable, I would say, trading spot only, dipping into all the ICOs. Well, I found Insilico trip, and I started following it. Not really interacting, just NPC, but all the stuff that he put on CT and his Telegram later, they were kind of a breadcrumb trail for people to follow. And so that's what I did, and started studying and really dived into the rabbit hole. And I think I developed my own knowledge and became profitable finally, which per se is not easy. I believe it took me years. And years later, I just decided to, become active in the space to provide what others did for me, like Trip and others, just provide free education. Then it's up to people if they want to keep studying and learning by themselves, but at least I lay a foundation. Of course, I cannot compare to Trip and other people. They're like orders of magnitude better than me, but I do my little part here.
How long did it take you to become profitable, or since when would you say you are profitable?
So excluding the first 2 years where I just didn't know shit, I think 6 months to a year. Especially because I had to get rid of leverage. I barely use leverage unless it's for de-risking, so for trading in smaller positions, and never big, of course, than my actual, portfolio, specific portfolio for a specific thing. I had to fix a lot of mistakes and really go back to basic. And once I went back to very simple stuff, that's when it clicked. And that's when I could also start to add some complications into my system, but only the necessary ones, because anytime I complicated everything a little bit too much, I started losing money again. Okay, so it was a very long process. And so I would say, yeah, probably a year until I fully understood what went on.
I'm very interested if you could walk us a bit through the process, because I I've told you before, for me, it has been very similar. Like I found Trip's content a couple of years ago and then just like went from there. And at the beginning, I was very intrigued. Like I've been also been in crypto since 2017, but it was more for like a technological and ideological aspect and whatever. And then I really thought about trading. And when I started to learn more about the market, I got very intrigued by everything that you are able to learn about the market, and there's like a wide variety of things that you can study and see, like TPO and normal charts and indicators and everything like that. And Trip has a lot of content that is like very breadcrumb like, as you said. So I'm curious, like, how did you take in what he kind of gave you, I guess, and what did you try doing with that, and how did you like develop throughout that to get to a profitable stage eventually?
All right. So, well, the thing I love about Trip is that it treats everyone like a retard, and then that's what I did to myself.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, like just dump it down until you can find a baseline,
Mm-hmm.
and that was basically price action. Like the most basic level of price action is level 2 level trading.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I just did that for months until you start seeing the patterns, well, the ones that sometimes you find on the technical analysis manuals. I'm not suggesting anyone goes out there and just rely on the technical analysis patterns, because that's the path to perdition. But, understanding why certain things form, why price reacts to certain levels,
Mm-hmm.
how volume can support a certain movement or go against it, and also why liquidity can be an obstacle sometimes, and how we can profit off of volatility, for example. And of course, you can just sit on the chart all day, or you can also read some books.
Mm-hmm.
For example, the ones that you can find online, like the very famous ones, very good. Then, of course, you need to maybe dig deeper. Sometimes you need maybe a scientific paper, okay, or read some reports. And I lack some of the skills, like the very specialized statistical knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
So later, and also these days, I'm trying to find a quant. Like I'm working now with a person, probably she will join later. I'm setting up my little desk because I
Mm-hmm.
like to do the analysis. Then I mostly trade Bitcoin and Ethereum, but understanding the market in general helps you create your own model in a way. Nothing too complicated. Everything's so simple, but you go from the general to the particular, so specializing into something. And that's what I did. Then when I was confident in my level 2 level trading, uh, I added a little bit of, let's say, market profile, which is something that I really enjoy. And that's when I transitioned from swing trading to day trading, uh,
Mm-hmm.
because I feel more comfortable just opening and closing my position in one day. It's less stressful, helps me relax at night, and also gives me time to do other things. And then I went to lower time frames, and that's what I do mostly these days is scalping.
Mm-hmm.
So it was a process, okay? And, when there's an interesting move, I open a swing. And when there's something interesting on a day trading side of things, I do day trading. Now I'm mostly scalping, probably because I have a little bit more size now. So scalping returns are more, let's say, satisfactory. Because when you make
Mm-hmm.
$1 or $2, because you have $100, $1,000 portfolio, of course it feels underwhelming. But nowadays, to people that approach trading, I kind of recommend scalping, because the compounding power is superior, and also the losses are relatively smaller, because
Mm-hmm.
the levels are very clear when you scalp. So yeah, that's an evolution, I would say.
So you mostly use like price action and level to level stuff while swing trading on like higher time frames, and then you evolved onto using the market profile and other stuff to like go more into day trading and scalping, basically.
Correct. For scalping, I don't really use profile. I use a little bit more like liquidations, price action, of course,
Mm-hmm.
liquidations, order book, the DOM that you have in the terminal is amazing
Mm-hmm.
because you could just place orders on there. And honestly, the DOM is my main tool these days. But again, it came very late in my, let's say, my journey, trading directly on the book, because the moment you turn off the chart, it feels very uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm.
So it's to me is using the right tool for the right job. Okay, yeah, you can kill a fly with a flamethrower, but you'll probably burn down the house. And like that's same as scalping with market profile or using the footprint on the 1 minute chart.
Mm-hmm.
It's just not the right tool for that job. If you're on the 1 hour chart, then by all means use the footprint. If you're looking at the daily composite scenario, then yeah, market profile. It's just what I like to do and what I try to tell to other people, like in my Discord or on X, is just don't overcomplicate that shit because it's already difficult. Like
Yeah.
you I know it looks cool when you post like crazy charts on X or like with 1,000 tools on there, but chances are you don't need it. Like,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, if you want to do it for cloud, do that, whatever. But when it comes to money, you want to do it in the simplest way possible
Mm-hmm.
because the shit is hard. So yeah.
You mentioned like when you gained more confidence in your price action trading. What was the process like? Like what were some of the mistakes maybe that you made during that journey? Did you like learn from? Like did you use too much? You mentioned using too much leverage, like
Oh
learning
man.
risk
Yeah.
management and all of that kind of stuff. Like what helped you improve there?
Yeah. So, well, first thing, yes, stopping the use of leverage to increase my, let's say, my portfolio synthetically. That was the first step because at that point, your losses are not that tragic, I would
Mm-hmm.
say. Because, if you're at 20, 30, 40 leverage, like a 1% move, your stop is at 1%, that's a big loss. If you use leverage in the retarded way, which is like you have $100 and set leverage 10 to just trade more, hoping that you'll find that incredible swing that will make you a lot of money. Chances are that's not going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, if you're lucky, or if you're a genius, but if you're in the middle of the bell curve, that's not going to happen. So that's the first step. Just trade on 1x leverage. There's a reason for that.
Mm-hmm.
Or if you want to trade $10 and you have $100, portfolio, then set 10x leverage. Then doesn't matter if your stop is at 1%, you're still going to lose like that amount of money.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the first step. Second was at that point I got more comfortable, and you can just trade a support. Okay, if you see a bounce on the support, just you can just open your position and be more comfortable with that. And then you can actually journal everything, like why it went well, why it went wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And you learn way more from the mistakes because when you're right, like you don't really look back at your trade, right? But when you're wrong, okay, there was the volume went sideways or just, market participants were not interested in pushing the price here. Simple things, but then you start to understand the tools that you have. What do they tell you? So, and really the simple tools like volume, like, yeah, liquidations, for example, that's very useful. Liquidity, like a heat map, for example. or the book heat map, or even the books, if you want to just read, the DOM. How did participants react to the certain level? And you will find way more confluence with that. Like, I will have 1, 2, 3 things. When they converge, at that point will be a very good trade for me. I can still lose the trade, but statistically, it's going to be a good trade. And the moment you find the confluence that increase the probability, trading is just about probability. Like, there's no trader out there that wins 100% of their trades. But there's a lot of traders that just win 30% of their trades, but they're very fucking profitable. Why? Because the loss is controlled, but the upside can be very big on that. So, and by the way, 30% is a very good, it's a very good statistic. So, like, I feel that the environment now is kind of toxic because you see all these screenshots on people 125x leverage, posting insane returns. By any means, like, good for them if it's a real position. But I don't think that's healthy for people that get in and just blow their accounts trying to do the same thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was like, okay, enough with the bullshit. Like, and I also stated clearly, like, if you see me using leverage, it's because I'm using less risk, not more. And then people can listen or not. It's none of my business, but at least I try to help someone.
What do these confluences look like for you? Like, how did you discover them? I guess through journaling and just like spending time at the charts. Like, what does your strategy particularly look like? If you don't mind sharing that.
Yeah. So, well, as for confluences, is not my discovery. Like, you always hear people talking about confluence of this, confluence of that. I was like, okay, confluence of what? So I want to see, for example, limits starting to hit and starting to appear when we're near a support, for example. That's and then when you look at the DOM, for example, on the terminal, you can see people rebid. And when they start rebidding, like, that's the real order flow. Yeah, you can use the footprint, you can use other tools, but the real order flow is just there. It's talking to you. Just look at it. Are people bidding? Are people that lost their bid going on market orders? Okay, there's support for this move. So we can get at least a few pips there. So if you're a scalper, for example, you can get a few pips there. And where's another cluster? Where's the volume on the ask? Where the ask get hit consistently? Where's the ask wall? Okay, let's front run that shit. It's like, let's be smart, because if I set a limit there, it's not going to get filled probably, or not completely. So we can just front run that stuff. So these are two confluence points, like, on the support, for example. So it's very simple. The price start moving, but there's a fake out, there's a bootstrap. So the only way to read that is actually looking at orders, for example, and volume. Volume per se is not enough sometimes, because retail can do a lot of stupid shit, and they do it generally all together. So that's not enough. But the bids there, if there is a large participant coming in, you're going to see it on the DOM. And that guy is not going to sell it for cheap. Maybe they're doing just a few pips, but they're in. And their inventory at that point is there. So you can just ride with the big guys instead of standing in their way. That's just an example, let's say, of a scalping situation. Like, I took a few scalps today. Some I won, some I lost. But the one that I got were mostly because I was looking at big guys. If you go and look at the heat map today, which is January 6th, during Asia session, was super crowded. Someone got in. You can see it on the heat map. Someone got in during the Asia session and just, fill their bags. So any little dip, you could long it and make a few pips on there. Then, of course, I'm not talking about the swing today because my memory does not go that far back in time, but it was very clear today. So just look for that guy. Just see their orders because they act very kind of mechanically. Same order size. If you have a T size, for example, you can see their orders, same size. They will buy here, sell there, and they repeat the pattern because even algos, they're made by people. So the settings are much simpler than one thinks.
What does it look like on a trade like that when you like exit for a loss, for example? Like how when do you know like this is a position I no longer want to be in? I'm just like leaving this.
Oh, on a scalper, I'm going to know very quickly in a matter of seconds. Sometimes before I set my stop.
Just from like the reaction of the orders and like how the DOM looks, or
not only, but often yes, from the books, because maybe there's a large pivot there. Okay, a nice pivot, for example, if you use any good pivot indicator, or let's say there's a very good one from Insilico, for example. Any pivot there is going to have a reaction. Of course, there's going to be a little dip often, but then when we regain that pivot, you want to see the bids coming in. I'm talking about a long. If I take that long on the dip, because I want a better entry since we were talking a few pips, and price goes through the pivot, then I want to see the bids there. If I don't see the bids and price comes against me, my stop is going to be maybe 0.05 sometimes. Because I know that I'm wrong, absolutely wrong. Other times, maybe I was right, was not confident in my move, but I on a scalping situation, I know pretty quickly. On a swing is a little bit more difficult. Maybe you need a larger stop because maybe someone's going to sweep for liquidity. Okay. And maybe you didn't wait for that sweep. So you need to use a little bit of intuition to set your stop slower than what that projected sweep is going to be. Or just wait for the sweep. At that point, just smash the buy or sell button. It's easier in a long, on a sweep. But still, smash the button after the sweep and you will make some pips. Just worst case scenario, because people got liquidated and the booker is thin. So like the price is going to cut through it like butter. And then later, when liquidity comes back in, you can reassess, oh, was it a fake out? But still, a few pips there. Downside is you need to stay on the chart. And if you're like chronically unemployed like myself, it's easier. Otherwise, for people with a job, responsible people, that's a little bit more complicated. Maybe day trading or swings are easier.
So do you mostly trade just like mean reversion even on your swings?
No, on my swings, it's well, 50% is mean reversion, I would say. But then, when you see those glorious pumps on Bitcoin, we just roll with it. I haven't seen many recently, but in the like 2020, it's like after like the COVID dump, COVID crash, those days were glorious, and of course, like it was on easy mode, and I admit it. Like those were in easy mode; you could just long anything, and that's also when I made the most return because you could buy Solana for $10.
Yeah,
and just hold.
The good old days. Yeah.
Yeah, or anything. I wouldn't say they're not coming back, because if this is really a bear market, then BTC can go really low.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then it's going to run again. But these days, yeah, a swing is more of a mean reversion for me. And I'm not one of those guys that said, "Oh, I sold the top in my spot bags." No, I sold way before the top.
Mm-hmm.
Like, but there was still 15 or 20K going before we were at the top, but was good. I don't talk spot much. I mostly talk perps, because those are everyday things that you can do for buying spot. That's something that I do DCA all the way down, and like very, very basic strategies, nothing complicated, just
Mm-hmm.
TWAP or uh, DCA at regular intervals on the way down. That's the simplest thing. If you're far from all-time high, it's a good time to buy.
Do you have like a longer term view as someone that is like now mainly doing scalping and day trading and stuff? Like where we are in the cycle, if the cycle still exists, if we're in a bear market, all of that stuff that
I'm
people
not
always care
one to make
about.
predictions.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry, I interrupted you. I'm not one to make predictions. Spot for me is a long-term thing always. There are the obvious runners for me, because when I lost money in the ICOs, then I had to learn how to read a good project.
Mm-hmm.
And let's say with Solana, at that time, I was not investing in ICOs anymore, but in Solana, I saw something. And even if I'm not a big user of the Solana infrastructure, I didn't do any meme coins or anything.
Yeah.
Uh, but I saw potential, same as I see today. It's not financial advice, but same as I see today for hype.
Mm-hmm.
I see a large potential for that. And I really spent a lot of time researching the infrastructure, the ecosystem, what are, you know, the long-term possibilities of that. It's not just a DEX.
Mm-hmm.
There's much more. Like Solana at the time was not just a swap. And, now we have, I think, lighter rounds on Solana also.
No, I
Uh,
think Lighter is an Ethereum layer 2 actually.
uh, all the meme coins and the trenches. So there was potential for that.
Mm-hmm.
Hype, same thing. There's potential for more. I don't know if other decks, and I'm not going to name names, but I don't know if other will have the same potential,
Mm-hmm.
because revenue is hard, and I see that almost as a stock of a business.
Mm-hmm.
So is it underpriced, overpriced? That's what I think. And I have my own model for researching spot and tokens. And there's not many that are valuable in my opinion, but there is a lot of tokens being released. So I think
Mm-hmm.
it got even harder than it used to be in terms of finding a good runner. I would say
Yeah.
something I never talk about, but one of the things I'm good at is really looking to this stuff. Because
Mm-hmm.
I always start from okay, I'm going to get scammed. Now
Relatable,
let's
yeah.
prove that I'm wrong. Like,
Mm-hmm.
prove me wrong. And so I could still find some nice things. But yeah, there's mass adoption, so it's harder.
So like your opinion, you don't really have that. Like you're looking at new perp dexes and stuff like that as stocks, as you said. Do you have like Hyperliquid is probably like your main thing right now that you're looking at? Do you have much of an opinion on all the other ones? Like, do you like take a look at them? Do you trade on them? Do you think dexes will take a lot more market share this year, for example, from sexes, or what's your outlook on that?
So it depends on how sexes will behave, in my opinion,
Mm-hmm.
because I mean, I'm one of those guys that lost a shit ton of money on FTX. So
I'm sorry to hear
At that
that.
point, I was no, dude, so it was half of my portfolio and
Uh,
was money for me because I grew
yeah.
up very poor and those were money for me.
Mm-hmm.
But shit happens. I learned a lesson, and I tried always to take anything I'm not trading on my own storage, and like
Mm-hmm.
with good OPSEC, and and the DEX. Well, it started with Uniswap, the idea of like something on chain.
Mm-hmm.
I think one of the first, like Uniswap, Sushi, all those swaps, like mm, they were the origin, and as I see it, the origin of what is now hyperliquid,
Mm-hmm.
lighter, and so on. So, on chain self custody removes one worry, makes new ones
Yeah.
because you can lose your keys, you can get robbed, and so on. But at least it depends on you and doesn't depend on others, right?
Mm-hmm.
Mismanagement, just crime, things like that. Hacks, Mount Gox. Mount Gox
Mm-hmm.
was hacked and it almost killed crypto
Yeah.
because it really took away like trust from the
Mm-hmm.
system. And, uh, and now we all assume Binance safe. I don't mean to say it's not safe, but or other. So if they prove they can be trusted, and some of them, in my opinion, can be trusted, um, then good. But every day you have a shady exchange that doesn't release funds,
Mm-hmm.
and that's complicated. And the KYC can be a double-edged sword because if that gets leaked, and if you're a major player or even like
Yeah.
like a few $1,000, but you're in a country where that $1,000 is money,
Yeah.
that puts you in a dangerous spot. So it really will depend on if the centralized exchange can provide safety, in my opinion, then they will continue to try.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, we'll just begin another cycle of the decentralized exchange, and which I use. I use
Mm-hmm.
both. Uh, and now I'm trying new ones. I will probably try lighter
Mm-hmm.
because scalping with no fees is easier, of course,
Yeah.
especially when you're making really few pips, but you're making like 70, 80 trades per day. You need that 0.1%.
Yeah.
So, um, and but Hyperliquid is very good. You have all the staking, all the DeFi options that I really love
Mm-hmm.
for just letting, not just leaving the stable coin sitting in the wallet. You can just take that 1 or 2% for a year. Uh, it's better than nothing, and Hyperliquid made it very accessible because it was a shit show when it first started. You had the rug pools, you had everything.
Yeah.
I lost so much money there too. Like it's a constant battle against
Yeah.
against that. But at least they have auditors and everything now, so it's like a little bit more democratic, I would say.
I
Um,
mean, it could always happen. Imagine if Hyperliquid got hacked today. I feel like that would be kind of devastating for all of
yeah,
us.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Of course, of course. I just trust their layer, and also the fact that community can check,
Mm-hmm.
but community missed a lot of shit. So like because some things are not easy, and crime is always a step ahead. So
Mm.
yeah, you're absolutely right with that. Mm.
I want to talk a bit more about your journaling process you mentioned earlier, because I'm interested in what exactly you look for when you're journaling. Like, what do you look for in statistics, and also in like what do you personally think is worthy of noting down and helps you improve?
Okay. So I will try to make it like to pre-digest the information because my journaling, it works for me, but it's all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
If you take a look at it, you can all make sense of it. So I have, for example, my little like paper, okay,
Mm-hmm.
just a notebook. It just, I take notes of what the price is, just the last few ticks when I'm scalping, just the last few
Mm-hmm.
ticks, the 10s, the 30s, the 70s, and so on. And why I have my little like acronyms just for what it looks like.
Like you write that
So
down physically into a notebook?
yeah, most of the times I do because I don't have to open a spreadsheet there.
Mm-hmm.
And when I'm scalping, I don't have time for that. So it's just hotkeys with one hand, and the other hand is like just the notebook.
Interesting.
But I don't know if it's like bid rebid, it's just BRB.
Mm-hmm.
So if I see rebidding constantly, so that's my reason for taking that little trade. And for scalping, it's just like that. It's like Morse code almost.
Yeah.
I just take notes of why I took a trade. And if I see something that used to work, um, and then it's not working anymore, strategies expire most of the times because changing algorithm, changing whatever market maker strategies,
Mm-hmm.
this stuff expires. But it's also easy to find a new one because the patterns are pretty much the same. It's just going to be somewhere else.
Mm-hmm.
And on the DOM, you have a market profile, like a volume profile for the trades, so you can calculate your own value area and the extremes, and you can just fade those or
Mm-hmm.
just find the support and resistance where you have high and low volume nodes, right? So my notes on scalping are like that, and then I go over those at the end of the session, just like 5 minutes to see if I did something incredibly stupid,
Mm-hmm.
uh, and then write it down properly on a spreadsheet. If I didn't do anything incredibly stupid, it's going to be an okay day. Even if I lost
I
some
see.
trades, that's fine.
Mm-hmm.
For swings, there's going to be much more speculation. Where's my entry point? Where's my target? If I'm near reversion, where's the mean and why did I take it? Uh, like there's going to be a lot more lines on the chart.
Mm-hmm.
There's going to be some market profile involved. So maybe I look at, I don't know, we have a support or resistance here. We're inside the volume profile, the large volume profile, value area. We're losing it, we're regaining it. Market profile, are we inside, outside value area? Can we speculate that we're going to do a so-called 80% rule, right? Where side value area, we regain and then we just roll through it.
Mm-hmm.
So when I have 3-4 things that match, then I'm going to take a trade on the daily or a swing. But nowadays, I need a lot more confidence to take a high time frame trade.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe because I satisfy the urge to be productive by scalping. This is
Yeah.
not an urge of trading, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Because
I
I
see.
can
Yeah.
absolutely not trade, but that's my source of income. So I need to really stay on the books and be ready to take an opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the swing is just going to be that 5 or 10% potentially that you make, but you can make that in a few weeks with much less stress
Mm-hmm.
with good scalping, right? And people piece on 10% these days, but 10%, like that's compound, right? That's compounding power.
I mean, making 10% is a lot better than losing 10% as well. I feel like most people
Yeah,
just lose
yeah, for
money all the time.
starters.
So
For starters.
even if you just make any money at all and then just like compound it very slowly, it's already pretty good.
Yeah, it's like I don't know. I blame the high leverage screenshots when you tell someone, "Oh,
Mm-hmm.
wow, today I made 3%." I mean, I'm quite proud of a 3%. That's paying the bills. In a day, like that's good money. And then you
Yeah.
tell someone, they're like, "Oh, what the fuck? Like that guy made." Yeah, but dude, like, the difference is that I didn't use any leverage, so I I'm quite relaxed when I do that, right?
Yeah.
Well, leverage takes away the relax and turns
The
people
risk of
into a
ruin is like way lower if you just like
yeah,
compound slowly
yeah,
with smaller gains.
yeah. Like I never blew an account i- after I stopped using leverage.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's impossible. It's physically impossible. Okay, it is possible, but you really need to be stupid, like, and not close it, not set any stop. So
How long have you been like dependent on trading as your only income source? Did you have like a job that you quit at some point, or?
I had a job and it was a profession.
Mhm.
Like I'm not going to dox myself, but it was one of those professions that people say, "Oh wow, you're doing that," which I
Interesting.
hated. It was crap. Yeah, I like pick those three or four. Uh, I hated it. It was crap,
Hmm.
and I don't think it's going to last forever. Considering AI and so on, or it's not going to be that good.
Yeah.
Um, I used some revenue from my first real good wins
Hmm.
to start a couple of businesses. So that's not my only revenue anymore,
I see.
but it's my main source of income trading. The businesses are there. They support themselves. They're a nice rotation, and sometimes maybe I had to add some money. Sometimes I can take some money from the business. But it's just about differentiating things,
Hmm.
right? And also the businesses are very different, like completely different sectors. And now I'm trying also to make my own desk. I have my own quant. I do my own analysis. I also
Hmm.
consult for others. I also try to help others, like with Discord and on X. And of course, some opportunities come from that as well.
Hmm.
So I'm just trying to differentiate because, maybe tomorrow I lose my hands and I cannot trade anymore unless we have some Neuralink or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think psychologically it can be very difficult, and it's always like good to have just like multiple sources or multiple potential sources of income at least.
Uh, I think the stressful part is like when you're doing something high risk. At least for
Hmm.
me, just solely trading was killing me because anything can go wrong.
Yeah.
Anything can go wrong, even on a macro level. Wars and stuff
Yeah,
like that.
yeah, yeah. But I
And
mean,
you
I
never
guess you
know.
can't really like defend yourself that much against something like that, even if you have a normal job or
No, true,
whatever.
true. That's true. That's true. But I just wanted to differentiate and honestly lowered my stress and also added some variety to my life because maybe I can go to a physical place
Hmm.
instead of staying at my desk. Uh, I'm still unemployed because I'm not employed by the businesses, but
Yeah.
I'm just a little bit more relaxed, which feels better after some time. Yeah, it's not a huge amount of money, but still you have those little breadcrumbs again coming in that makes you feel better if you had a bad
Hmm.
day at the desk, right?
Can you tell us a bit more about the how you're trying to like build a desk and working with the quad and like trying to automate your stuff?
Yeah. So Mm, I picked a student, like a student in statistics,
Hmm.
financial statistics specifically, because this person has a good understanding of the basics of the math.
Hmm.
Of course, they don't teach them much in terms of practical applications, but you know, I can give them something to play with. I can give them some books or some articles that they wouldn't find in their environment.
Hmm.
And, maybe you give them something and then you tell them, well, open whatever, DeFi Llama, open uh, one of these many tools and have a look at it. Or, Pendle, try to mess with that stuff.
Hmm.
And they realize they can apply what they learn. But they have a lot more fantasy. If you go with a student, there's a lot more fantasy
Yeah.
and they have no experience. And I try to work with people with no experience, not practical experience, because
Hmm.
it's easier to start in a certain environment rather than forgetting all you know. I used
True.
to kind of partner with a trader from TradFi. The guy is like 55 or 60, like much, much, much older than us.
Yeah. Hmm.
And he was like, "Oh, when the circuit breaker coming in, dude? There is no circuit breaker.
We don't
Just
do that
look.
here.
Yeah, we don't do that here. We just watch it burn." So yeah, right? And the guy turned pale. Like, I'm
Hmm.
not touching that. Oh, that's the fun part. You can short, right?
Yeah.
Uh, so yeah, the kids, the babes, like I call them, they don't have that. preconceived notions. So
Mm-hmm.
they can just roll with it and have a little bit less danger, a little bit less sense of danger. So
Yeah.
you could just let them go. It's a high risk environment anyway. So we are all risk takers.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And what I'm trying to do is just to have them apply their own ideas, their own strategies. Of course, I check them the first few times. Then if I see they're autonomous, just go. You have a
Mm-hmm.
certain funding. You take your own percentage. If you find something cool, keep me involved, of course.
Do you work with like multiple people, or is it just one person?
So I tried with two, didn't work out because they were too busy with uni. Now I have a new person that I'm training.
How do you
This
find them?
person.
Is it just like friends of you, or?
No, they were all random stuff. Two, I met them online,
Mm-hmm.
okay, and some like Discords and Telegrams. This one, well, it was a very strange coincidence because, as you know, I live in a different country from my nationality.
Mm-hmm.
I met a person from the same nationality totally randomly at a
I
business
see.
event.
Yeah.
And I was like, "Oh, what do you do?" "Oh, like, financial statistics." "Excuse me?" Like,
That's pretty fun.
Here. Yeah,
Yeah.
so, yeah. So I tried to get this person involved, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So it was a coincidence. And, yeah, let's see how it goes. I'm not ready also to throw this person, like, into to the big mix, but, when they're ready, they will also join a little bit more actively my channels, let's say.
Mm-hmm. So you're going to focus on letting them do stuff like Pendulum or stuff like that, for example, on-chain things, and like less of what you're doing discretionally right now?
Yeah. Yeah, because that's where I lack the most of knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
So when things get more complicated, because let's say Pendle is not that easy, and also you need to correlate a lot of stuff,
Mm-hmm.
okay, to trade yield,
Yeah.
okay? That's like, mm, if you want to just ape or gamble, then by all means, just set up an account, trade, right?
Mm-hmm.
But if you want to do it like consistently and with a positive outlook, you need to correlate a lot of different instruments, and maybe there's different layers of uh, stakings and so on, and like you need to see how the underlying asset is behaving. So it's finance. It's real finance.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I need someone that has
Not
like
like what we're
big
doing.
boy pants. Yeah,
Yeah.
no, I'm honestly just a trader. It's not easy, but it's not rocket science.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's people dumber than me making a lot of money. So they're not that dumb, maybe, actually. Maybe I'm the
Yeah.
dumb one, but still, it's not rocket science. That stuff is a little bit more complex if you want to do it. Like
Yeah.
real option trading. Real
Mm-hmm.
option trading requires a little bit more knowledge than just buying put or calls.
So why did you decide to come to Twitter, since you've just been lurking for a long while and now you're like making content, creating your own community, and sharing quite high quality articles and stuff like that? What made you decide to do that?
Oh, just passing it down. Like what Trip and others did for me. I just want to pass it down because I'm
Mm-hmm.
less stressed. I'm less focused on myself at the moment. So that is something that I wanted to do. Like I see newcomers, they come in 99.9%, they blow their accounts. And,
Mm-hmm.
usually they're kids, they're desperate for money because maybe they have a bad situation at home or in the country, whatever.
Yeah.
And they blow their accounts and they go back where they're from with, a few $100 less. So I'm just trying to put all the material that I have, all my notes out there, of course, refined into those those articles,
Mm-hmm.
and do it my way. Okay, and if they want to listen, if they want to learn, I'm there. Then of course there are some people that were literally backing me for mentoring. So that's, I wouldn't call it education. That's like a service. But as for the education, everything, in my opinion, should be free because it was free when other people gave it to me,
Yeah.
right? For trip, everything had to be free in terms of education, and so that's what I'm doing, because otherwise you just set a buy wall and you're going to do a natural selection against the people you want to help, right?
Hmm.
So that's my main goal. And of course, there's the donkeys, and you cannot help everyone. Uh, they will read it and just ignore it. Other people, they come to me with questions, and I try to help as many as I can. Now
Hmm.
they're becoming more, so that's why I did the Discord, because I
Yeah.
cannot just stay on the DMs. And they're all the same questions, so I could just do it in one go.
What do you see like people struggling the most with, or what are the most common mistakes that people make?
Psychology,
Hmm.
psychological. They know all the fucking theory. They know more theory than me at times. So
Hmm.
like, oh, but the Vanna in that moment was. I'm like, dude, like. And then I aped. Dude, if you aped, I cannot help you. Like
Yeah.
I longed into resistance. Just wait
Hmm.
a moment. Like you were all sad, it was all cool, but you are not patient, or you're in the middle of nowhere between two levels.
Hmm.
There's a guy I'm mentoring, and that's a common mistake he makes. And I came to the realization that he was not just waiting. I told him, no, you're forbidden to touching the buttons before you're close to a level, and you'll see that your profitability will go up,
Yeah.
because you just long and short in the middle of two levels, and nobody can predict that. You have 50-50. So I think it's psychological. It's about patience. It's about, Jim Dalton says, let the market come to you, right?
Hmm.
That's it. Like, wait for the level, see what happens. If it was what you were expecting, then just follow through with it. Worst case scenario, you're wrong, but at least you had a thesis for that, rather than just, I think it's going to go up. I think it's
Hmm.
going to go down, like, and then click the button. That's too irrational,
Why do you think
I
people are
think.
struggling with that so much?
I think it's a mix of excitement on taking the trade, and that's
Hmm.
leverage makes it worse. And then they close in panic, of course, like one tick against them, and they close in panic, and
Yeah.
they're in leverage again. So they lost more than they should have on the trade. Maybe the trade that wouldn't have been invalidated if they just were on 1x leverage and they set a healthy stop. Because if you're trading with, I don't know, $1,000 goes against you $3, is not a problem.
Hmm.
But if you're leveraged 10 or 100, the stakes, they're going to be huge on your total position, right? On your total
Yeah.
margin, sorry, on your margin. So yeah, that's why the psychology is out of control when you put yourself in that situation. But as soon as you
Hmm.
turn it off, in my experience, there's peace, there's no noise, and then you can focus on the level, because you're like,
Hmm.
fuck it, it's just $1,000 position, I make a $1. But if you make $1 consistently, it's like 1% or 0.1% consistently, that's going to be a lot of money after a
Yeah.
thousand trades, like millions. But people don't have that patience.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. I've talked about that a lot already with people on this podcast. I feel like, and also there's like, I always say, the next trade won't change your life, but the next 1,000 trades will.
Yeah,
Great quote by
that's
Tripp
the
or whoever
truth.
invented that, but that's always something that I think about a lot.
That every trader should put that sentence like on a post-it on their screen and just keep it there,
Hmm.
because you need to make it to the 1,000 trade. Yeah, absolutely, and then that's going to change your life. Absolutely.
I'm curious, since you're quite a huge proponent of the terminal as well on the terminal podcast, like what do you like the
Mm.
best about what are like your favorite or most used features apart from the DOM, maybe? Or what is also something that you find is like lacking or what you would like to see added to it? Do you have any
Okay,
thoughts?
so as for what I like is the speed. Like I always get filled. I never not get filled. And just the execution speed for me is important because as I move to scalping, you can trade on Binance interface or whatever. If you're doing a swing trade, it doesn't matter if you sleep or if you, skip a few seconds. But when you're day trading or you're scalping, your entry becomes vital. And you need every single fucking tick. So the terminal is super fast for that. You set the hotkeys and you don't even get confirmation if you want. You just smash the buttons and like buy and sell very quickly. So that's first thing. Second, the advanced orders that you guys have, and I know the more are coming, and the server side commands. So you could just set all these advanced custom types of order and conditional orders. I just listened to the Dennis podcast. Very excited for all the
me
features.
too.
And so that the flexibility and the fact that it's really basically institution grade material, and it's free.
Yeah.
Like terminals are not free normally. I mean, you guys get paid by taking a little share of the commissions, and if you have profitable traders and big traders that like you, you grow, and that's how it's been going because you have a great product. Something I don't like. No, that's just something that you're fixing. Actually, I don't know if I have a TWAP. I needed to leave the terminal open.
Oh yeah.
Now server side execution. That thing is solved. That was my only issue, which is not a big issue. It's just mute the laptop and turn off the screen and go to bed.
Yeah.
Maybe when you cannot leave the desktop open, or you need to travel with the laptop, that's a little bit trickier, but fuck it, we don't have to trade every day, right? So it's just, that part, I think it's a huge upgrade. Especially when you add some complications, the terminal without their custom things, custom functions, orders, it's very good. And also the sound effects, I love them. That's a plus.
I just use like the default one, like the clicking sound, but it's just very satisfying to like hear when your order has been filled.
Yeah, I hate to admit that I use the uwu sound. It's just
For mentally ill.
not when I'm scalping. No, when I'm scalping, it's like therapy for me.
Yeah, I think for like especially for scalping, execution is just very important without like glazing ourselves or whatever too much. But if you're like using the exchange UI, it can be a lot more difficult to really nail all your lower time frame entries and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's impossible. It's impossible, and the slippage is just endemic to slippage, just because the execution speed. Even if you click the button at the right moment, there's a lot of orders in queue, and then you're gonna miss it. I rarely sleep, even when I do larger orders. I think zero slippage probably if you trade up to one lot. Probably on good liquidity, probably zero slippage. Above that, you're gonna have some probably, but not much.
I think that's a good point to wrap it up. I guess that's like we discussed a bunch of different interesting things. Do you have anything to say at the end? Any words of wisdom? Anything you want to shill?
I love your GMs. So
do you?
Yeah.
Thank you.
I'm always waiting for the GMs. Like, let's see what you pulled out of the hat today. Yeah. And also I want to say thank you to Trip from me. It doesn't give a shit, I'm sure, but I had to do that sooner or later. Right.
Yeah. I can do that. He doesn't really like the same thing, but I'm also very grateful for everything that he's put out.
I know he doesn't care, but I have to get it off my chest.
Yeah, we appreciate that. Thank you very much for coming on. I hope everyone enjoyed the first episode of this year, and many more good ones to come. And goodbye.
Bye.